Hello, this is Warpath 1985 speaking, and in day 7 of the 12 Days War, I should be discussing the Master Universe Origins, King Randor, Fisto, and the Stider, alongside some other comparisons here and there. Now, obviously, the figures themselves are homages to the original toy line, and thus the original versions, but also intermixed with the Filmation versions, and so on and so forth. Now first we're talking about Fisto here, and Fisto is a little bit interesting to say the least. Fisto was part of the last few waves that are still being produced in China, so it still has that really weird articulation and plastic quality that's related to most of the Chinese versions of those figures. Aside from that, Fisto is quite interesting to say the least. He is a little more unique when it comes to other figures in the toy line, where unlike his original counterpart, he reuses the parts from a figure that reduced parts from, as seen here. As you can tell, he just simply reuses the chest plate that Clan Champ had. I'm trying to move the camera a little bit here, but for a better look. As you can see, it's virtually just the same as that piece. Nothing has really changed at all. The only real difference between those, obviously, color and paint-wise, because Clan Champ, he doesn't have any of that general silver paint all over these little straps here, while Fisto does. And also, funny enough, I feel both Fisto and Clan Champ would appear in Revelations, the Infamous TV show, and die. That's pretty much it. It's not more worse when it comes to Clan Champ, because Clan Champ, in his case, that was his first appearance ever in animation, and the second season he appeared in, and he's dead. Fisto's is a little easier because he did appear in the original Filmation cartoon series, because he was lucky enough to appear in that show, alongside with 2000X. He wouldn't be shocked he was a part of the weird selection of figures and general vehicles that are supposed to be in the He-Man and Master Universe and the Master Universe TV show, the CGI one that was on Netflix. Before that, eventually got cancelled. Which is still pretty sucky, because a lot of those figures were still being made by then, because we had like Hordak, Merman, etc. come out afterwards, but we never really got like the rest of the figures and characters from the original toy line and other general iterations of MOTU. Aside from that, Clan Champ also reuses the sword from Triclops, which is a little weird. I talked about this in the Jitsu, the Night Stalker Jitsu review, where he reuses the sword from Triclops as he falls over. I'm not really sure why that is. It could be just because I just saw it right now, and my everything just keeps on falling over. It could be mostly just because of budget. Maybe? I don't know. I do understand why, because they look very similar to the original toy, because pretty much both their swords were very similar. But being ever so slightly different. Funny enough. Other than that, the only really thing that's still be exclusive to Fisto would be his fist and his head. Everything else is obviously reused and would be reused for future iterations of iterations of this general Master Universe Origins mold. Because again, all the figures use the same like general parts from the He-Man body, and so is the He-Man Origins body. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Fisto. Another really particularly special, that is. It's pretty neat. One thing I would like to say is I wish they did do this for Fisto, to differentiate him from the original figure, was to have his fist be all backmetalized, like how Jitsu's was. I'm not particularly sure why they didn't do it. Probably due to budget cuts, etc. Because that general line which Fisto came out was pretty interesting to say the least, because it came out alongside with, if I recall correctly, various other characters. Like, what was his name again? It was Faker Evelyn, I believe, like the 2000 X version Evelyn, and a few others. If I recall correctly, I'm trying to look at the general mini comic here. Yeah, and Merman, the power of what power was Great Skull? Generally, the concept version of Merman. Aside from that, King Randor is a little more interesting since, no, not exactly. If you're curious, King Randor does not reuse the cape from good old Scareglow, because Scareglow is a little more interesting because Scareglow actually uses his own unique cape, which is ever so slightly different when compared to King Randor's. As seen here, obviously you can tell it's very, very just slightly different, not only in texture but also general looks, because Scareglow actually has a hood, unlike King Randor where he doesn't. Very slight difference, but it can be easily confused alongside with the original figure, that is. But also here's a comparison with King Randor's brother, or half-brother, Keldor, which is where the cape actually comes from, because it is a reuse from Keldor, because Keldor originally came with this cape, as you can tell by the much more ornate general look instead of the much more scavenger type of like cloak, or general just hood and cape that Scareglow has. Aside from that, he obviously reuses the chest plate from Jitsu, and the staff will be, I believe, reused for another figure, that being a Snake Man, maybe? Or actually, no. I think it was a Snake Man. Well, at least one of the Snake Men. Not particularly sure, because most of them, we used a lot of those, like, very early wave parts and etc. For those figures and general accessories, so I don't know, it definitely just blurs line move there. And aside from that, both of them obviously have the same exact articulation, which I'll be showing off with first with Fisto, because it's a little bit easier, because Fisto is a lot more simple. Fisto simply has a swivel at the wrist, similar to Jitsu, where his right hand has simple swivel and no hinge. Hinge elbows, hinge shoulders, ball joints at the thigh, general hinge knees, calf cuts, ankle rockers, ankle hinges, a waist swivel, a dumbbell joint at the head, Morris's dumbbell ball joint, and finally hinged wrist and a swivel. A very standard Master Universe Origins articulation, only really excluding the right hands hinge. Yeah, there you go. The right hinge. When it comes to King Randor, he has the same articulation scheme as Fisto, like most Master Universe Origins figures, but has the hinge. But because of the cape, his head articulation is ever so slightly limited because his hair is very bushy, so it just gets caught in there most of the time. Yeah, that's mostly it for both of them because of articulation. Nothing really that special. One of those mini comics that does have a, or I do have available, a international variant which has no text. As you can see, you see a lot more of the artwork when compared to the the American version. Most of these you could get available here in the United States is by buying the versions over there in Canada and also parts of South America, I believe. But other than that, if you want to get either one of them, you just have to buy like a figure or one figure out of the wave, which is what I did. Is that I bought a figure from each wave, from like from some of the early waves, from international buyer or seller, and another one from here in America. As you can see, it's just a general fight between both Faker and good old Fisto, and it ends with the reveal that Skeletor, Merman, and Evelyn have a lot more Fakers available. And there's a little tease for Snake Mountain, which I'm trying to show up, but it's a little bit harder with this general camera angle here. But yeah, a little tease for Snake Mountain, which we released, I believe, like the year later in 2022. Aside from that, other general differences would be the mini comics having no text when it comes to the back, when it comes to like the little blurbs and hero cores and evil warriors being excluded. The international version have the large like general just text full of all sorts of different languages, and alongside that, I believe, yeah, that's probably it. I don't know. They did like move. I've seen the mini comic all the various bubbles and etc. Speech bubbles, that is. It's very neat. Me having like both of these variants and the Sucker Punch in general is a very neat mini comic. But Mind Over Matter is kind of like a little bit more interesting because this is released like in the final general wave that had the Rulers of the Sun and will eventually open up to the Snake Man. If I recall correctly. As you can see, huge battle between the heroes and the Rulers of the Sun against a whole bunch of evil warriors from Skeletor's general group. Really like the art in this general mini comic. It's a lot more defined, that is. You see the power that Gitino has. Other than that, that's mostly it for this general mini comic. This mini comic is very interesting, to say the least, because this was released like almost very infamous because everybody was trying to get this Trapjaw figure because it was delayed for I want to say like 2 or 4 waves till we finally like got it. Whiplash, King Randor, and Digitino were also kind of like very sought after because this general wave just didn't really hit shelves here in America. King Randor and Whiplash were especially just hard to find. Nobody could really find them at stores. Digitino, it was a little bit easier to find, but Chacho was like the one you could find the easiest. But yeah, Whiplash and King Randor were like really hard for to get for like a while till like King Randor was released. But Whiplash is still like hard, like super hard to get now. I still don't really own him at all, shockingly. Aside for that, that's all for the mini comics, and with that, back to the review. The Stider, however, is a lot more interesting. First, I'll be going over the helmet options, which are very, very minor and somewhat minute. We obviously have the standard. Drop the other helmet again. The standard helmet and the classics helmet. Both of these will be reused for the Night Stalker later on in the toy line, since this Stider was released in 2022 to go alongside with Fisto, who was released the year earlier in 2021, and also technically King Randor was released about the end of 2022 because 2022 was Rulers of the Sun era, and thusly the theme was Rulers of the Sun, and thusly King Randor was part of that because it's part of that interdimensional shenanigans that were still going on at the time. It's still like a plot point because how else would Horde travel all the way to Eternia? Otherwise, it would be a little weird. Aside from that, other than spaceships were whatever. Plot aside, the helmets obviously just slot into the general heads like so. Very, very simple. I'm not really go over the circulation scheme because I talked about it in the Night Stalker video. Versus is very similar. When it comes to like most of the details, it's just the exact same but slightly different paint. When it comes to the Night Stalker, which I have here for comparison, I always can tell that the Night Stalker has a lot more paint than Journal budget because it was a Mattel exclusive, because they kind of realized that, hey, this is not going to be a sellout market, so we're just going to put it in Mattel Creations, because again, unlike the Stider, where there was technically 3 people who are known to operate it, because in Night Stalker there was only technically 2, and one was really kind of pushing it. Aside from that, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some more extra sticky detail on the Night Stalker, but on the Stider there's also a little bit more as well. Like for example, the saddle has a sticker while the Night Stalker doesn't, and the Night Stalker has a lot more sticker detail on the front armor piece, while the Stider does not. One other unique part is that you can technically feel that little like emblem there, like a little bit. It's still there, I believe, but yeah, it's just covered up by that big old sticker. But yeah, it's just a little emblem there. Aside from that, the Stider, as I mentioned before in the previous Night Stalker review, does have a all unique port that would only be used for the Stider and never again with the future figures, and not figures but future vehicles. Which, as you can tell, is a lot easier on the hand, and in general a lot easier to take apart. Comes to for example, the classic mushroom peg, where it was a lot harder. Which they would use this a lot more often, but I understand why they kind of like got rid of it after the Stider, because technically this is kind of counteractive when it comes to playability with earlier vehicles, which had that old mushroom peg type of a port system instead of this more cylindrical port system. It's understandable, but it is somewhat disappointing in the end. Aside from that, it's getting plugged back on there to the base plate, which is supposed to be as stable. That is for the Stider. Trying to focus on in here. There you go. Similarly to the stable that was included with the Night Stalker, it's supposed to be a part of Cosmic Grayskull, because it has a Cosmic Grayskull floor pattern, general texture. And obviously it's supposed to slide into the Cosmic Grayskull playset, which you can see in my Cosmic Grayskull review. It's pretty neat. I really like this general play pattern. I'm glad they're so expanding it after all these years, because I believe like the last one they did was for current right now, the trying to replace it with the Cosmic Grayskull Tower. But aside from that, yeah, it's pretty cool. General play pattern, how they just further expanding the play sets. That is. Other general gimmicks would be the removable rings, which are removable on both the Stider and the Night Stalker, with a simple I keep forgetting the general name of the general toy gimmick that is usually called spring loaded. There it goes, spring loaded to a mouthpiece. But yeah, just let's back up and just slide it in there, and now the rings are in place. Another difference compared to the Night Stalker and the Stider would be the boss effects, them being a different color. Just ever so slightly different shade. More so not a different shade, but entirely different color, which is like this fiery type of red, like hot rod red, basically. It looks pretty good. In this general shaded blue. Perfectly fine with both like the versions of this general toy. It's just kind of your preference that, oh, if you like that one, then you swap it out with the Stider, or if you like that one, you swap it out with the Night Stalker. It just general depends on your general preference. Obviously, the helmet is removable if you want to like have it with the classic head. Very simple, just removable helmet. And finally, for the last general gimmick, because I'm gonna go over the articulation because it's again the same, which yeah, wag tail, swivels, joints, etc., ratchets, they're very much the same. You could have a good old Fisto seat inside the Stider, or more or less seat inside the the saddle. There you go. I don't know why I'm like so forgetful all of a sudden. And there was one of the problems with the Stider. Again, on occasion the guns will just fall off by themselves. I believe it's just because the ports are just a little bit too small for these little 5mm pegs. It's confusing, but it's fine. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's very simple. Play gimmick. Generally goes for good old King Randor. The King Randor figure can obviously see in there inside the Stider, like so. Which you can also remove his staff for an easier fit, and also the cape. Let me zoom out a little bit for a better look. It's a lot more difficult with King Randor, since King Randor, his cape does get in the way of some of the little bits here and there. Obviously, the saddle seat does get a little in the way of his cape, and also the blaster and tail, because the cape is actually pretty large. He can obviously grab onto the little rings in general, ride the Stider into battle, which is pretty cool, and any sort of Master Universe display. Aside from that, I don't really have anything else to say about the Stider and the King Randor and good old Fisto. But if you do have like Skeletor, which I mentioned in the Skeletor review, you could also have Skeletor here. See it inside the classic external version of the the classics helmeted version of the Stider. There we go. If you want to have it display like that in general display, if you want to see that, go check out the Skeletor review. But other than that, all these figures are still available in some shape or form. King Randor is still available because he was re-released very recently through the fan favorite series. Fisto is still available through most general stores. And Stider is most certainly available because if you don't know, the Stider has basically shelf warmed every single store to all pretty much to all known general mankind knowledge, whatever. Because if you don't know, the Stider just shelf warmed horribly at stores, which is kind of the big reason why you don't really see vehicles that often anymore. Because Stider is kind of sold so horribly that we just don't really see vehicles at retail anymore. For even like the heroes, because now we see like a lot more often, a lot more villain vehicles, because those sell like a lot better. But other than that, the Stider just kind of like ruined the general experience for most collectors, comes like buying in general, trying to hunt down these like vehicles, which sucks because I find the Stider to be really cool as a toy, but other than that, it is very much a situation that can't really can't really do anything about it, because it's shelf warmed horribly, and because of that, we don't really get more Master Universe Origins vehicles. And you can't really do anything about that because that was 2 years ago, so time has passed, and now we usually get like a 1 or 2 vehicles a year now instead of the original how many vehicles we get in the first like general wave? It was like a lot. We got like 3 for like the first like year, and then we got like another like set of 3 for the second year. So you got like a lot more first 2 years. So yeah, it is sucky, but whatever. That's all for day 7 of the 12 Days of War. And like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I shall see you for day 8.